Something that I've been wanting for years, and I mean years, is for a Kingdom Hearts fighting game to be made. Do you know how good, how crazy, how epic that would be? That would be so fun. There is an audience out there for this. I just know it. While I know a lot of Kingdom Hearts fans aren't necessarily fighting game fans or are super crazy into fighting games, I know a decent amount of them are interested or are into fighting games, but there's probably a lot of people who will become fighting game fans just for Kingdom Hearts. Similar to how a lot of people became fighting game fans and came into the FGC for Dragon Ball or for Naruto or any anime or big IP they're into, whether it's a Grand Blue or from some sort of guest inclusion from a random fighting game with your favorite character, since that is a very popular trend nowadays. I know a lot of those people will become fighting game fans if a KH game got made like that. It would be so awesome. How likely would this be to happen? I don't know. It's unfortunate, but I feel like Square Enix, if they were to prioritize another genre for Kingdom Hearts, I feel like they would probably go back to mobile games, or maybe not mobile games, but they would probably go back to the free-to-play format, and they would likely do like an MMO or something. I feel like fighting games is up there for sure, but I feel like there's other things they would probably do first for Kingdom Hearts. I feel like a RPG, like a straight-up RPG for Kingdom Hearts, turn-based and all, would even be more likely than a fighting game to happen. But man, would I love to be wrong about that, and would I love for a fighting game to be made. For me, my preferred fighting game for Kingdom Hearts, it wouldn't be a Dissidia type, it would not be an arena fighter. My preferred perfect Kingdom Hearts 2D fighting game would be a 2D, yes, sprite-based fighting game, or 2.5D, either or. I could be fine with either, but I like sprite fighting games a lot. I really like the really nice rendered HD sprites, like similar to what Type Lumina has or Under Night has. And speaking of those games, it will be made by that team, French Bread. It will be so cool. And the reason I say that team in particular, is because, for me personally, I prefer for a fighting game, to focus a lot more on its mechanics rather than its super flashy visuals, but it can definitely have both, though I know people have preferences when it comes to their visuals and stuff. The biggest thing I could see them running into as a Kingdom Hearts fighting game is not everyone would be able to be in it. A lot of main characters would be, like a lot of Keyblade wielders and a decent amount of villains, but Kingdom Hearts has a huge cast of characters to choose from. I mean, a lot of fighting games, like in their base forms, typically have like anywhere between 10 and 15 characters in a roster, depending on the type of game it is. If it's a 1v1 fighter, yeah, like 10 to 15. If it's like a tag game, then maybe you'll push 20 or so on. But with Kingdom Hearts, you have just 13 characters in the organization, plus more including all the Xehanort versions. You have the characters, the Union Leaders, and Foretellers from Kingdom Hearts Key and Union Cross. Then you have your 7 Guardians, and then that's not even discussing Disney characters, which I don't know if Disney characters will be in or not. It wouldn't be a priority for me, but I would love for them to be included somehow. I think a beautiful way they could be included would be in a assist style format. I don't know, this may be something only people who have played these type of games will get, but you guys know like the types of fighting games where they're not really quite tag games, but they're assist fighters. Like it's a 1v1 fighter, but you get to choose like 2 cards or 2 assists or something, or 1 maybe, and usually it's like a guest character who isn't playable, but you can use an attack from them. And that would be similar to kind of like how parties are in Kingdom Hearts. You're not able to play as your party members, but hey, they assist you in battle. It would definitely be something like that, and I think that would be pretty cool. Some of you might be like shocked that I said that I would not prefer for a Dissidia type game to be made, and that's because while I think Dissidia is cool, I definitely like a lot of other 2D fighters a lot more, a lot of other fighting games in general more, not just 2D. Dissidia is really fun, don't get me wrong, I love it, but I feel like when it comes to a Kingdom Hearts fighting game, I would love for it to be able to go like super competitive. You can definitely have that sort of competitive environment with any sort of fighting game, and with the Kingdom Hearts community, like any fighting game, regardless of how it is, will probably end up being pretty competitive between Kingdom Hearts fans, or at least among like people who like those types of games. But I would love something that could be made with competitive in mind, something made like that's super balanced while also being pretty freeform, which is why I said earlier I would love it if French Bread could make a Kingdom Hearts fighting game. Square Enix working working with that sort of team would be beautiful, though I think that is very, very unlikely. If Square Enix was going to work with a team for a fighting game, I feel like the most likely scenarios would probably be them working on a Dissidia game, and they'd probably get Koei Tecmo or Team Ninja to work on it, similar to what happened with Dissidia NT. Or, and this is a big or, because I don't know how likely this is, but there is history there, Square Enix has actually published a 2D sprite fighting game before, and that is for Million Arthur Arcana Blood. A lot of you probably do not know what that is, but that game is a fighting game that came out around 2017, and it was published by Square Enix and made by Team Arcana, the same people who have worked on games like Arcana Heart, which I don't know if you guys have heard of, but that team made Million Arthur, and I've played that game quite extensively actually. I've done a stream of it before around a year and a half ago, and the game is really fun, and it's actually a assist fighter like I was talking about earlier. Since Square Enix has worked with this team, and this team has worked on fighting games before, have experience in that department, like heavy experience, I think they could be a team that gets called to make a fighting game for Kingdom Hearts. Million Arthur is definitely not one of my favorite fighting games ever. I do think it's very underrated, and I think it should get a lot more support than it does. But it's only just the company's or Square Enix's fault that it doesn't, because the game is only available in the West on PC, and it's only available on console in other countries, so it's a little unfortunate. Not a little, a lot. A similar type of thing kind of happened with Dengeki Bunko, a game that came out in the early 2010s, and it has a lot of licensed characters in it. It has like Asuna from SAO, Kirito, Emi from Devil's a Part-Timer, and just a lot of characters from animes that you may or may not recognize, but it's really fun. I play fighting games like quite a lot. Like if I'm not making videos, if I'm not live streaming, I am probably playing a fighting game, whether it's Smash, whether it's Fighters, whether it's Under Night, whether it's Melty Blood, whether it's Million Arthur, KOF, Street Fighter, it doesn't matter. I like usually just buy fighting games just whenever I see one, because I really like just exploring these mechanics, exploring these older games or newer ones even. It's a really fun time, and I just love that sort of like competitive gaming. A big reason a lot of people want Sora in Smash isn't just because it will be like a cool accolade for Kingdom Hearts. The representation of Kingdom Hearts in Smash will be beautiful, the music, like, and a lot of people love Smash. Smash is a great game, but it's also because it feels like to a certain degree that a Kingdom Hearts fighting game is just so out there in some senses, aside from it being like a Dissidia game or something, which I do think is likely, but not super duper likely. It almost feels like it's the only sort of option for any sort of Kingdom Hearts representation in a game like that. So that's like a lot of what that is, what that hype is around. Still hoping for Sora to be that last DLC character, but we'll see what happens. I am definitely going to be making a lot more videos about this sort of topic. And not all of them are just going to be discussion videos. I really want to make like a full-scale concept video about how I think a Kingdom Hearts fighting game could work, all the different genres it could dive into, like for fighting games, like whether it's a tag fighter, a 1v1 fighter, a assist fighter like I mentioned, and even diving into like other sorts of genres for fighting games like 3D fighters, like Tekken or Virtual Fighter, or whether it's a arena fighter straight up, like a Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm, or the upcoming Demon Slayer game that's coming out. There's a lot of ideas and topics to discuss with this, but also another reason I would like to make those videos is because if we could somehow, I don't know, like the power of communities I think is very, very powerful, and if we could somehow get enough of a discussion around this and Square Enix notices, and I don't know, 4 or 5 years from now, however long it takes to develop, we actually got a cage fighting game, that would be a dream come true. But that will be all for today though, guys. If you enjoyed today's video, you already know what to do. Leave a like, share the video with a friend or family member, and last but not least, if you haven't known already, and want to become a part of the union, all you have to do is that red subscribe button down below. Oh, also, comment down below, what type of fighting game for Kingdom Hearts would you like to see? No, tell me, what would your dream fighting game for Kingdom Hearts be like? Who would it be made by? What would it look like, play like? And how big is the roster? Let me know down below. But my name is Prodigy, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace out, you guys. Bye.
Now she's a daydreamer. She's always thinking